Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Munsell. This is Communicating Today. We've been on Channel 10 for a long, long time, well over 25 years. In fact, we're going to be doing show number 771 tonight, believe it or not. For those of you who watch us on a regular basis, you know we come on 3 times every week. Every Wednesday at 8:30 in prime time, every Friday morning for you early birds at 6:30 in the morning when you're driving to work and you're emailing and you're texting, and you shouldn't be doing that. You should be concentrating when you're driving because that's very dangerous. But for the 3rd time, we come on every Sunday afternoon at 3:30, so 3 times every week. But before we introduce our show, I just want to take a very brief moment, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to dedicate this particular program, show number 771, to my beloved sweet wife, Dolores Dee Dee Munsell, who passed away a couple of years ago. I miss you, honey. I love you. I can't wait to see you someday. But we got a show to do tonight, so let me introduce the guests for my show, tonight's program. Over here on my right, we have, sitting right next to me, we have this nice lady, Kimberly Nidalashi. Kimberly, hello. I got it right.
You got it right.
And on the far side, we have Mr. Randy Best. Randy, thank you so much for coming, guys, for coming on our program. We are going to be talking about your wonderful organization called the Northern Virginia Ethical Society, abbreviated and called NOVIS. Now, before we started to do the show, I got on my computer and I did a little Googling to get a little background information on the topic for our program tonight, which is ethics. And here's what Google on my computer told me. It said, Google's definition is, ethics are moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. And it mentioned something about moral principles. So I had to go further on my computer, and I Googled the word moral. And the definition of moral or morality was principles concerning the difference between right and wrong and between good and bad. So I guess what the Northern Virginia Ethical Society is all about is kind of what I just read here. I hope we're on the right track here, and what the definition I just got from my computer is what you guys are all about.
That's a pretty good foundation, John. Huh? Yeah. You can think of ethics as doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing.
Right. And it's not always obvious what the right thing to do is. And so we think that idea is best explored in community.
Yeah. So that would be our definition of the Ethical Society, of the Northern Virginia Ethical, is doing the right thing.
Right.
And judging right from wrong, and just like I said here on Google on my computer. And you want to add anything to that, Kim, or not?
Well, the Ethical Society is a humanist congregation, and we get together once a week to talk about those ethics and to talk about what challenges we face. And then we also get together at other times in fellowship and community and try to live our best lives.
Wonderful. And I have a word that I wrote down here, and I have to thank Randy because he sent me a lot of great information. Ladies and gentlemen, watching our program, Randy Best over here has some great ideas and some great thoughts about what we can talk about on our program tonight. And he mentioned the word here in my outline. It says the word humanism. So I'm going to defer to Randy. So I look at you at that one because you're the guy that sent me the word, Randy.
That would be fine, yeah.
Humanism, what's that all about?
Humanism is a progressive philosophy of life that, without supernaturalism, affirms our ability and responsibility to lead ethical lives of personal meaning and to work to improve the human experience in the world.
Yeah, right. Okay. And is this ethical society, and when did you guys get started anyway?
Well, the Northern Virginia Ethical Society got started in 1983. And they were actually kind of an offshoot of the Washington Ethical Society, which is also under the bigger umbrella of the New York Ethical Society, which was actually started around the turn of the century. Huh. And so we have been around in this area for about 30 years.
Huh, wonderful. You know, Randy, just a moment ago, you mentioned a couple of words, improving human behavior as part of your ethical society activity and so forth. It so happens I look out on the world that we live in today, and there's so much going on, it's not right. There's a lot of immorality, there's a lot of unethical things going on in the world today. And I was given a wonderful book by this gentleman here, John MacArthur, who wrote a book that says Christ's call to reform the church. And that's not only any one church, it's all churches, because there's a lot of immorality. For example, we had the priests who were abusing young children recently for many, many years, and millions of dollars were paid out to hush this problem. This was activity that was not very moral, it was not very decent, it was not very ethical. And so I was given this book as a gift to read, and I've been reading this book. So there's a lot of negative things going on in the world today. So I think your ethical society is here at the right time to kind of to turn and change things a little bit, turn things around a little bit. So I think you guys are performing a wonderful service based on what's going on in society in general.
One of the things we do, our approach is not from a religious foundation using scripture or revelation. We believe that it's really human reason and human agency that are responsible for working on cleaning up the problems that we have. And then if we get together in groups and talk about it, that the ideas and the solutions that we have will be much greater than anything that any one individual or even one religious tradition could come up with on its own.
Yeah.
So we want to benefit from all of human experience and to put that together and try to figure out a way to live a life that is moral and meaningful and works to help better society and help better the world.
Yeah, and another afterthought too, talking about the immorality and the unethicalness that goes on in our world today, is something called pornography. And I saw a survey not too long ago that was put up, I think it was Harvard University, and it said that something in the neighborhood of 70% of Christian men occasionally look at pornography, and as many as 50% of Christian pastors have been accused of looking occasionally at pornography. These are terrible statistics. These are terrible numbers, that this kind of thing, this kind of activity is going on, and it's rampant. And it's not only rampant in the United States of America where we live, it's rampant around the world. This thing of pornography is rampant and it's growing and increasing, and we got to figure out a way to put a stop to it or make the world become more moral and more ethical. And that's where I think you guys can come in and do a wonderful job with what you do.
Well,
what do you think about that?
The beautiful thing about ethical culture is that we believe that every human being is filled with dignity and worth, and we do not believe that human beings are perfect or without any type of fault. But that there is goodness and beauty in every person, and if you take the time to get to know them, that you can see what good there is in their character.
Yeah, and we believe that ethics begins with choice. And the personal choices that we make in our lives make a difference. And they make a difference to our ethical formation and our behavior and our relationships with others. And items like pornography keep you from relating to other people as people. And so that's why it can be a problem.
Yeah, right. So that's part of the basic philosophy, because one of the questions I have down here is, what is your basic philosophy? And what you two guys just mentioned, I think, pretty much describes your philosophy of the Northern Virginia Ethics Society. Now, I know that, may I call you Kim? Because
yes.
I know it's Kimberly Nilashi, I got that right. But I know that you are also involved in the teaching of Sunday school.
Yes.
That's one of your main functions here in the society.
Absolutely.
So you want to tell us a little bit about what you do there at the Sunday school teaching?
Yeah, it's great. I love being in charge of the Sunday school. I love being with the children. We have a robust group of children that go from age 4 all the way up to our teens at 15, where we start to try to integrate them into adulthood in the society and an adult role. We have Sunday school every Sunday where they come and join us in the regular congregation for a little bit, and then they're excused. And this year we're working on a comparative religion curriculum, and so for the little kids they're doing crafts and things that help them to learn about all the myriad of world religions that are available, and the older kids are doing a little more of a philosophical look at the Abrahamic religions and then how religion grows and changes throughout the world. And we're doing that by touring a lot of local houses of worship, because we want to get to know people who are different from us and find out what we all have in common. And in addition, our kids do at least one service project a month. And this month, we trick-or-treated for socks for the homeless for Socktober. And our students collected 213 pairs of socks, which are going to local homeless shelters.
Amazing. Congratulations. You guys are doing a fantastic job.
We
That's
love
wonderful. That's terrific. How many students do you have in your Sunday school?
We have about 30 students. And
Like what ages would they be?
We have a really strong group of about 4th to, I would say, 7th grade that's doing our comparative religion class. And then we have an equal group of about 10 students or so that is doing our holidays and holy days class. And then we also have some teens. So we offer a mentorship program to help bridge those teens into adulthood, because you know being a teenager is when you really start to face those moral dilemmas on your own, and it takes a village to help guide them through that.
So you're the principal. Do you have any other teachers that help you, or do you pretty much do the whole thing you're by yourself?
Well,
it sounds like a pretty big job.
Well,
it's only, what, one day a week, right?
I work about one
Sunday.
day a week. I work at home one day a week,
Yeah.
and then I work on Sunday one day a week. But we are staffed by volunteers. We are a community, a family, and everybody pitches in. So our teachers are all volunteers.
How about other people in the organization of the Northern Virginia Ethical Society, Novus? Randy, are there other people that assist you in what you do? You're the leader. You have the title of leader.
Yeah, I'm a leader, which is our clergy title in our tradition. And so I went to our ethical culture seminary. And I have lots of people. We have volunteers. We have an active board. And we have other committees that help our organization run. And so I work with all of them.
Yeah, that's terrific. I think we're getting pretty close to the halfway point, but I want to mention one thing. A good friend of mine, Avi Day, who attends your services quite often, I know, when you have them, and he was here. He took some pictures of our show tonight. And Avi said, when you do the program with Novus tonight, try to mention one thing. There's a wonderful activity that you guys have coming up. It has an unusual name to it. It's called the Stone Salad. It's a community festival that's going to take place, I think, on Sunday, November the 17th, which is not too far from now.
Yeah.
What is this Stone Salad activity all about anyway? It sounds like fun. You want to mention that?
Sure. Stone Salad is one of our festivals that we have at Thanksgiving time. And what we do is every member is invited to bring an ingredient for our salad. And then we mix those ingredients together into yummy salads. And others will bring soup and bread and things to contribute to our luncheon. And it's just a time of conversation and music and enjoying each other's company and eating together. And the Stone Salad is really sort of a metaphor for our congregation, in that everyone brings something different and unique, and we mix it all together, and it becomes something greater than the sum of its parts. Yet all the distinctiveness and uniqueness of everyone's individual contribution is still there.
And where does this take place?
This takes place where we normally meet on Sundays at 11 o'clock at Green Hedges School in Vienna on Windover Avenue. And we invite anyone to come check us out.
And this is a traditional thing. You've done this before.
Absolutely.
Yes, this is our Thanksgiving festival.
Like, how many years have you been doing this?
We've probably been doing it since our society here in Vienna was founded.
For a number of years.
Yeah, and it goes back farther than that from some other societies who started it.
And it's called the Stone Salad.
The Stone
Where
Salad.
does the word stone come from?
Well, there's a wonderful book called Stone Soup.
Oh,
And so
Stone Soup.
Stone Soup. Now, we don't have a kitchen,
I
so
got to
we
tell
do
my sweetheart.
we do a salad. But it's a wonderful story about some soldiers who are traveling through, who need some assistance, but nobody really wants to share what they have, and they say, I've got a magic stone. And if you use this, we'll make a great soup. And he encourages everyone to, like Randy said, bring all of their individual parts together for the greater good.
From the stone soup, it became stone salad.
Because
That's right.
we don't have a kitchen.
You don't have to.
So we did a salad. We didn't need any cooking.
I just got the 2-minute warning, the halfway warning, folks, not the 2-minute. That comes later. Halfway warning, so I got to go back to the camera for a few seconds and reintroduce the show for you folks who are watching our program. I'm John Munsell. The program is called Communicating Today. Been on Channel 10 for a very long time, over 25 years. We're doing show number 771 tonight, believe it or not, with this wonderful group of folks representing this wonderful organization, which I'll tell you about in a second. But we're doing show number 771, and we are going to look forward to doing many, many more shows in the very near future. We come on 3 times every week, every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. in prime time. Friday morning for the early birds at 6:30 in the morning when you're driving your car, may not be able to see our show, but also on Sunday afternoon when the Redskins are playing and winning another game, as a matter of fact, the Giants and the Cowboys. But let me go back to our guest here again, reintroduce our guest for you. Sitting on my immediate right, we have Kimberly Nilashi. And she allowed me to call her Kim.
Yes.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
And on the far side over here, we certainly have Randy Best. Thank you, Randy, so much for coming on our program, for both of you, representing a wonderful organization called the Northern Virginia Ethical Society, how we can improve people's behavior, which is not very good in the world today. It's getting worse by the minute, but these guys are trying to make it better, and that's what it's all about. And they have an abbreviation. They call themselves Noves, N-O-V-E-S. And they have a wonderful website, too, by the way, which we're putting up on your screen periodically at the bottom of our 28-minute show, which you should see periodically. And if you need more information about Noves, by all means, feel free to contact them, and they'll be more than happy to tell you more about this wonderful organization called the Northern Virginia Ethical Society, again called Noves, an abbreviation. Okay, let's get back to the second half of the show, guys. The second half, how does the Ethical Society compare to a church or a synagogue?
Well,
There's a $64 question.
Well, and that's why our students are taking comparative religion this year, because we're spending a lot of time trying to figure out philosophically what we have in common with other religions as opposed to what divides us. But in addition, the Ethical Society is like those organizations because it provides us with community. It provides us with fellowship. It provides us with friendship, and it provides us with a common goal. And especially for us, what's really important is ethical action, and so it provides us with people that want to help us fight for justice.
Huh. Do you base your organization on the Bible?
No, we don't use any scripture or revelation. We base our organization on ethics, which is a human endeavor, and we think we can figure out these things for ourselves. And that's the best way for us to operate in this world. And ethics then becomes a common ground that everyone can participate in, regardless of what their personal religious beliefs might be.
Yeah.
So we're open to that. However, as a humanist organization, when we discuss ethics, we base it as a human activity and not something that is revealed from above.
Right. Are there other ethical societies in other parts of the country, in other states?
Glad you asked that.
Is this kind of a national organization?
We are a national organization.
And maybe a national headquarters somewhere?
We are small. We're 25
Here
societies.
comes the $64 question, right?
And we our national organization is headquartered in New York City, and that's where ethical culture started in 1876.
And what do they call it, like the National Society of Ethical, or what?
Well,
What was
it
the
could
name
have
of
been, but what we call it, the American Ethical Union,
Okay.
because it's the union of all of the ethical
And
societies.
then how many like subsidiaries do they have like spread around the country? Yours is of Northern Virginia.
Right.
What
There's
about other
one
states?
in Washington. We have about 25 congregations nationally, so we don't have very many. And most of them are concentrated in the northeastern United States. But we do have one in St. Louis, and one in Silicon Valley, and one in Austin, Texas, sort of going west. But mostly we're on the East Coast.
And do you have like an annual meeting where you get together every so often?
Indeed we do. And we have the annual meeting, and we have a theme for the annual meeting where we have workshops that concentrate on that theme, how we can learn our own ideas about the theme and develop our own ethical formation through studying those topics. We had racial justice has been a theme that we've been pursuing the last couple of meetings that we've had.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Here's another question about, is the ethical a culture or a religion? I think you sort of answered that up to this point, but maybe you want to
well, it's
expound
interesting because we don't have any dogma or any God idea in our services. What we do is we focus on the human element, and we are. I've always had sort of an ambiguous status for our members. We say that we're a religion for our members that are religiously inclined and merely a philosophy for those who are more philosophically inclined. However, since we are a congregation, we do identify as a religion and consider ourselves to be a religion and have won several court cases where others have disagreed with our definition.
Wonderful. Now, if somebody would be interested watching our program out there on Channel 10 on Communicating Today, be possibly interested in joining your wonderful organization, Novus, what would they do? How would they go about joining? And would there be any costs involved in joining a wonderful organization?
Well, our members are the ones who contribute financially to our organization. Anyone is welcome to come and visit us. And we meet at 11 on Sunday mornings at Green Hedges School in Vienna. And we also have a Sunday school, which is free of charge. So some parents have children in the Sunday school and are not members, but most of our Sunday school is comprised of children of our members, which helps make it more of a whole community experience for us.
Yeah, the Ethical Society is great that they provide the Sunday school free of charge, and we are supported by our members. And in addition, our children also have a scout troop called Navigator Scouts, and it is a secular co-ed scout. I'm also the leader of that. And the Northern Virginia Ethical Society also sponsors and supports our kids through that as well.
We also have some events that happen in the community. You may know that Cafe Amory on Church Street in Vienna. It's a coffee shop that has some public classes that go on there, which they call their Penn University. And Novus has had a long-running discussion series there, and information on that is also at Cafe Amory, and you can check that out too.
That sounds wonderful. That's terrific. You guys you're doing a terrific job. I'm so excited and so thrilled about having you guys on our program. You're doing a lot of great information. I really appreciate it. Would you happen to have any other kind of social activities that go on besides your regular meetings and your
Well, just a couple weekends ago, we actually put on an adult education workshop for parents. We had a local parenting expert who is in this area come and speak to anyone that wanted to register. And that also was provided free of charge through the Rosemary Ziskin Memorial Fund. And Jerry Ziskin, whose name that is in, or the Jerry Ziskin Memorial Fund, it's in his honor. And so we do often put on events in the community that we hope can help people to live their best ethical life.
That's terrific. I'm running out of questions. I thought I had enough questions to do our half-hour show, so I'm going to take this opportunity to throw it out to you guys, you, Kim, or you, Randy, if you want to add any more about your wonderful Northern Virginia Ethics Society, Novus, maybe some upcoming, maybe some future goals or some future ambitions that you might have in mind. You've been doing this now for a number of years. And you've been so successful and you've done so much good for our community here in Northern Virginia. And you want to continue to do, and maybe there's some more things. Maybe you can expand a little bit more, maybe increase a little bit more, and be able to touch more lives and improve the morality and the ethics that we have in our world today, in our community today that I mentioned earlier. That goes on in the world today in the United States of America and in Virginia and specifically in Northern Virginia. So if you want to expound on that a little bit more and maybe come up with some other thoughts or some other ideas about some other thoughts that you might have in mind to expand it a little bit
Well,
further.
one of our ideas is the essential human worth and dignity of everybody. And that means that we're opposed to ideas such as racism and sexism and homophobia, and we promote everyone as a whole person whose needs and dignity should be recognized at all times. We also believe that the way to become our best selves is through helping other people become their best selves. And that basically means that your own moral development comes through the good that you do in the world in helping others. And that is really how you become your best ethical self, is through the experience of service to others, which is truly an exchange with another person. And that enhances the human connection and brings out the best in everyone.
Yeah, right.
Yes, and to add to that, we often say, we believe in deed before creed. And what that means is it's really much more important what you do than what you say. And so if anyone in the community is looking for a place to get together and feel like they can do something to make the world a better place, we invite them to join us, and we would love to have them.
Well, that's wonderful. That's terrific. I have another future guest coming on my program a couple of weeks from now. It's called Volunteer Fairfax. It's an organization that's designed for people to volunteer their time and their service to give to their community. And I think that what you guys are doing is in that vein. It's in that same context of volunteer. You volunteer your time, and you volunteer your knowledge, and you're volunteering your experience, and your desire to do good, and to eliminate evil, and to eliminate bad, and to distinguish between right and wrong, and bad and evil, and so forth, which is what this business about morality is all about, which is that definition that I got from my computer before I did the show when I was on the computer last night, the definition of morality. And what you guys are doing is exactly that, to help people to distinguish those things with the wonderful service that you provide. And this concept of volunteerism comes into play, which is another group that I'm going to be having on, as I said before, in a couple of weeks from now. And I just got the 2-minute warning. Guess what? That's when it's time for we start talking about wrapping up the show. And that's when the Redskins are playing the Dallas Cowboys or the New York Giants. And I don't know if you guys are football fans or not. And the Redskins are winning another game, hopefully. And the referee comes out and he waves the red flag and he blows his whistle and he says, "Gentlemen, our game is almost over. Unfortunately, our show is almost over." So I got to take this opportunity to thank you guys, Kim and Randy, for coming on our program representing the Northern Virginia Ethical Society, better known as Novus, and telling us all about the wonderful work that you do here in Northern Virginia. We wish you the best of luck, and we wish you Godspeed. Come back and see us again. Tell us how you're doing. But I got to go back to the camera for a few seconds to close the shows. So I'm going to go back, folks, and look at the camera. We always go out with our famous slogan, in which we say is simply, keep on communicating for success. And wonderful organizations like we've had on our program for tonight's show, the Northern Virginia Ethical Society, better known as Novus, N-O-V-E-S. We've been putting their website up at the bottom of your screen, I think, and I hope. If we haven't, I'm going to ask them to repeat it right now before we go off the air. And I just want to thank our two guests for tonight's program. This nice lady sitting alongside of me, who's Kimberly Nilashi.
That is correct.
And
thank you.
Sitting alongside of her over there is Mr. Randy Best, the leader of this wonderful organization called Novus. And Randy, in case we didn't put the website up, would you please repeat it right now before we go off the air?
www.noves.org.
There you go. You got it, folks. See you all next week for another show. Thank you for watching. Come back and see us again next week. Bye-bye, and God bless.
Avi making the connection for us here.
We'll get you on next time, buddy. Yeah.